Okay guys, it's no secret that short-term rentals, VRBOs, Airbnbs are extremely popular right here in the Phoenix area and all the surrounding suburbs like Scottsdale, Paradise Valley, Fountain Hills, Chandler, Tempe, and more. Why is that? There's a lot of good reasons, guys, and they are highly profitable. So from an investment standpoint, short-term rentals is a very good option that you should consider, okay? But we're gonna dive into all the nuances right now in this video, and we're going to go over why you may or may not want to buy a short-term rental right here in Phoenix, the Scottsdale area. So we're gonna get after it right now. Okay guys, we're gonna start off by answering the question, what are STRs? Short-term rentals, okay? Affectionately known as STRs. What are they? Well, first of all, they are residential properties, okay? Zoned residential properties that people have decided to turn into a hotel, right? That's what basically it is. And so people right now would prefer mostly to stay in a short-term rental as opposed to a hotel for many, many reasons. Now, obviously there's people out there that love to stay in hotels more so than short-term rentals. Let's be clear about that. But ever since COVID especially, it has exploded, right? The industry has exploded. Now, it was popular before COVID, Airbnb, VRBO, but guys, it has exploded since COVID, especially in destinations where people want to visit like Phoenix, Scottsdale, etc. So the industry has taken off and has brought a lot of investors to the Phoenix area to invest in those short-term rentals. That being said, the first question you might ask is, what is there a problem because of that with supply? Is there too much supply to where if I jump in the market right now today and bought a short-term rental, will I still get the return? And the answer at this point in time is absolutely yes, you will, okay? Because the demand is at the supply, if not exceeding it, the vast majority of most of the calendar year. We're gonna get into seasonality in just a second. But the first question is, what is that short-term rental? And that's what it is, guys. What you are buying and what you are building and what you are doing as an investor is having a hospitality business, okay? It is not a long-term rental that just can be really, really passive. Now, obviously, there are things you can do to make it passive, but it's not that. You are running a hospitality business. That is number one. Okay, the second question that we get a lot is, what's the difference between short-term rentals and long-term rentals? Now, we just kind of touched on it a little bit, but guys, long-term rentals are typically unfurnished houses that people bring and move into, and they bring their own furniture into the property and they will rent it out for a return on investment. Now, there's a lot of good reasons why you want to invest in real estate, right? But there is a difference between short-term rentals and long-term rentals, furnished rentals, and unfurnished rentals, right? Now, could you have a long-term rental that's furnished? Absolutely, you could. The tenant pool for that is a lot smaller, but it still does exist. However, the money on a short-term rental is far better when you can rent it out on a nightly rate, okay? That nightly rate could still mean that you have a 2 or 3 night minimum stay that you require, that no one can book just one night if you want, but it's leased out on a nightly rate. And what's the great thing about nowadays, guys, with Airbnb and VRBO as the two main platforms, there's HomeAway and some other ones as well, but they will collect and they handle pretty much all the back office type stuff, the operational type stuff when it comes to getting paid and all that stuff to make it very, very actually easy to an extent for just a regular homeowner to do it if they want without trying to hire a professional management company. So that's the good news, guys. Bad news is you're kind of beheld to those platforms. You can try to do it on your own, but there are some nuances to that. But the platforms, they obviously take fees out of your gross proceeds. But at the end of the day, for someone who wants a little bit of convenience, it's well worth it, okay? The difference there is, do you want to operate that and make more money, or would you rather have more of a passive investment and just get one person in there for hopefully a whole year or longer and just let it go and have that money come into your mailbox every single month? That's the main difference. The third question we get about short-term rentals is, Kelly, where are they located? That's a good question. Where are they located in the Phoenix area? All right. Primarily, they're going to be located in areas that have no HOA, no homeowners association attached to the community. Now, anything that's built that's in the last 15 years, 20 years, for the most part, most of that is going to have a HOA. And because Airbnb and VRBO is fairly new, a lot of those CC&Rs for the HOA communities will have restrictions on short-term rentals. The vast majority of them will require a 30-day minimum stay, okay? Otherwise, you can't rent it out anything less than that. That's most of them. It's a general blanket statement. However, there are homes that were built maybe 20 years ago, 25 years ago, in communities that do have an HOA today. However, because their CC&Rs were written at a time before really Airbnb and VRBO was a thing, they didn't have any restrictions in there about doing it. So what's happening right now is a lot of people, homeowners, are getting off on a technicality in which they can do it, and it's completely legal. Although a lot of the homeowners are, starting to rally the troops, get signatures, and try to get people within the community to sign off on a ballot to amend the CC&Rs and therefore restrict short-term rentals, because most likely that would have been the intent if they were a thing when that community was first formed. Interesting, right? I think it's fascinating personally. I mean, it's pretty wild how it's happening, but a lot of people are getting away with it now because of that. And they're gonna write it out until maybe, something passes and probably will sell the house, or maybe change to a long-term investor. I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. But homes that don't have an HOA, for the most part, again, general blanket statement, they are eligible to be a short-term rental. So these are homes that were built, in the 70s, the 80s for the most part, right? Maybe not necessarily in a master plan or big community. And so because they don't have that restriction, they can kind of do whatever they want. So areas of town that are big or bigger on this, again, generally speaking, you're looking at obviously North Scottsdale, South Scottsdale, Old Town Scottsdale area, right? A lot of entertainment, dining, world-class shopping, and so obviously it's a big draw for people visiting Scottsdale to be down there. And so a lot of communities were built in the 70s or whatnot, and therefore they don't have HOAs, and therefore they allow short-term rentals. North Scottsdale, like I said, is big. Paradise Valley is huge, right? Big mansions on Camelback Mountain, Mummy Mountain, some of these mountains that have really just outstanding views of the valley, and they're bigger homes. A lot of those are, not a lot of those, but some of those are STRs. You have Fountain Hills, a lot of areas in Fountain Hills. Fountain Hills is an awesome community, guys, a bedroom community located on the east side of the McDowell Mountain Range next to Scottsdale. And what makes Fountain Hills really cool, outside of the big, huge fountain and the lake in the center of the town, is that a lot of it was not built by tract home builders. So you have a lot of custom homes throughout the vast majority of Fountain Hills, which makes it kind of unique. Pretty cool. A lot of views, a lot of topography in Fountain Hills as well. So there are some STRs there. Other popular areas are Tempe, because Tempe was developed in the 70s primarily, 60s, 70s, and 80s. And so there are some options there for STRs, and it's right by Arizona State University. So yeah, a lot of good times down there, I guess, if you will, if you're a younger professional or college kid. And then you have other areas like North Phoenix or Central Phoenix that were a little older, not as many HOAs, and so those areas are somewhat popular for STRs as well. A lot of the newer stuff is built down in Chandler and Gilbert and Peoria on the outskirts. Most of that stuff has HOAs, so not too many STRs, although there are some, no doubt about it. So that's where most of those are located, and so ideally you want to be in a location that is fairly close to amenities, to entertainment, to shopping, to dining, things that people are visiting, golf, people are visiting the area for or to do. So, and obviously proximity to the airport can matter as well. So those are some tidbits when it comes to location. Okay, the fourth thing is size. How big of a house should I get? Small, big, what's bigger? I'm gonna tell you right now, guys, that the larger homes perform the best, especially financially. When it comes to a pro forma, they perform the best. A, there's less of them, and B, a lot of people when they go on trips to, especially areas like Phoenix, Scottsdale, they like to bring several families, and they'll come down and they'll stay with their kids or whatever, right? Maybe a guy's golfing trip, that sort of thing. And so a 5-bedroom plus home, honestly, will give you the best return. Now, obviously, it's going to be the most expensive when you buy it, but it will give you the best return, and it will have the highest occupancy rate. Okay, number 5, guys, the must-haves. What are the must-haves when you look to buy a STR, short-term rental? Well, you really want to have as many bedrooms as possible. That's huge. It's all about beds and heads. Or is it heads and beds? You get the point, right? Beds and heads. How many people can it sleep comfortably and legally, right? A lot of people will convert garage space into extra rooms or bedrooms. It's incredible what some of these operators do to maximize the return on investment, really. That's what they're doing. So must-haves. Pool. Must have a pool. Ideally, a hot tub with that. Above ground or obviously below the ground connected to the pool is perfect. That's ideal. And then, of course, a bedroom on the main floor, if it's a 2-story, is pretty important as well in case you have someone who maybe doesn't like to climb stairs, whether young or old, okay? So those are the main must-haves you want to look for in STR. Okay, number 6 is occupancy, guys. Occupancy is huge, and this goes hand in hand with seasonality of the market here in the Phoenix, Scottsdale area, okay? So by that, what we mean is, obviously the weather is just, like I said all the time, we have 2 seasons in Phoenix, right? We have, June through, August, part of September, 3 months or so where it's hot. The rest of the time is awesomeness. Yes, awesomeness. It's so great, guys. And by the way, we're coming up on that time here. We're in early September right now, and so it's right around the corner. I can't wait. It's gonna be so great. So you need to get down here and visit. If you're not gonna move, come down and visit. Call me up. We'll grab a coffee or lunch or beer, whatever you wanna do. Would love to take you up on that offer. So that being said, okay, awesomeness season is around the corner, and awesomeness season is when you make the most money, when you have the highest occupancy rate in the Phoenix, Scottsdale area. So the 3 biggest months are going to be January, February, and March, okay? And then you have, April's good. You have December and November are usually really good because, again, the weather's beautiful, and you have the holidays, and people come down to visit. So really, the 3 highest months are those, but you have those other months, those other 3 to 4 months that are shouldering the very, very best months that are just awesome as well. You can make enough money in just those 3 to 6 months to carry you the rest of the year. Usually no problem. That's kind of how it works out. However, you will book out other times of the year, even in the hot summer. I own a couple of STRs myself, and we just had a guy book for 4 months through May through September here. Darn near almost 5 months through the hot part of the summer because he had a personal family issue, had to fly down, whatever it may be. So that happens too, and that is awesome. Okay, that's even just like a cherry on top of all that whipped cream. So that is the number 6 reason with seasonality and occupancy rates, as you will be occupied for the most part on a nice house, somewhere in the ballpark of 65% of the year. And obviously that's very rough. It could be a little less. It could be a lot higher actually too as well. Just that's a very conservative number for the most part for most places throughout the Valley of the Sun. All right, number 7, property management, guys. Property management will break you or make you. Right, for the most part. Now, you can choose to do it yourself, and some people do. And if you have a little more time to spend on that, because it is a hospitality business, it's a side hustle, if you will, then you can be just fine. There are softwares that can help you with pricing and other things, check in, check out, that you can obviously buy on the side, and that'll help manage everything for you throughout that process. Cost-wise, most property managers in this area are going to be around 20%, okay? However, there are some property managers that do a little bit less, and their fees can be as low as 10% of the gross revenue. They also can be as high as 30% for, a la carte, white glove, full service property managers. So that's the gamut it runs, and they will do pretty much everything for you depending on which service you choose to go with. The biggest thing to keep in mind is that if you go with a property manager from the onset and they create your VRBO pages, your Airbnb pages, which is very nice and convenient to do, the downside could be that when you go to, maybe you fire that property manager or maybe you wanted to sell the house, that profile a lot of times will stay as intellectual property of the property management company, and therefore it does not go with the sale of the house, which is a problem if another investor is looking to buy the house, and primarily they're buying the house because of the income it's producing or has produced over the past X amount of years. So you gotta be on the lookout for that, guys. Very, very important pro tip, okay? Oh, and while we're on pro tips, I have one more for you. If you can buy a house fully furnished, do it. Don't think twice, do it. Especially if it's nice furniture. If it's not good furniture, obviously get rid of it. And don't do it. But if it is, do it, guys. You will be surprised and amazed how much time it takes to furnish a house, especially if you don't live in it, right? It can be a pain. So that being said, buy it furnished if you have the opportunity. It will save you all kinds of time and gray hair. Guys, there's some gray hair in this blonde. Trust me. Okay, guys, now we covered the good. Now we're going to cover the bad. Here are the mistakes, the pitfalls to avoid if you're looking to buy a short-term rental. Number 1, location. Primarily, do not buy on the outskirts of the greater Phoenix metro area, okay? Are there some exceptions? Of course, but generally speaking, don't do that. Be closer in to where the action is, right? The entertainment, the professional sporting events, the dining, all that good stuff that people are really visiting the Phoenix area for. Ideally, you want to be more of a infill type location, all things being equal. Number 2, no amenities. That's what you don't want. You don't want that basic 3-bedroom, 2-bath home that was, built 30 years ago, that is just boring and just, granite rock in the backyard because it's the desert, right? With nothing to do in the backyard, no putting green, no hot tub, none of that stuff, no views. You don't want that house, guys. I'm telling you, if you're gonna buy the house for investment, do it long-term, unfurnished. You'll just be happier, and they'll thank me, and you'll give me a nice card or a bottle of bourbon or something like that to thank me for doing that, because I'm gonna save you all kinds of headaches. So that being said, buy a house with some amenities, and if it doesn't have any amenities, put them in. We just furnished one of ours with a hot tub. We got a hot tub, delivered it because you had to have that. We put, horseshoes, right? Horseshoes, bocce ball. We did both of those. We did a putting green. So you have to have some amenities if you don't have a pool specifically. Now, if you just have a pool, you might be able to. In fact, you will be able to get away with it if you just have a pool, okay? And nice backyard, that will help, okay? But buy a house or put in amenities. Okay, and number 3, last but not least, management company, right? And cleaners. Now, cleaners typically come with the management company if you hire them. So if you don't hire them, you want to spend the extra money on a good cleaning company, guys. It will save you so much time and headache. I'm telling you right now, the extra $75 or $100 per cleaning per visit is well worth it if you are managing it yourself. Why? Because a good cleaning company will not just do a good job with cleaning the house. They will send pictures and have a cloud-based portal or whatever. They'll have pictures uploaded of what the property looked like before they clean. They'll have pictures of what it looked like after they clean, so you can see for your own 2 eyes without having to visit anything exactly what's going on with the property. And they will offer other services as well, potentially like linen service and towel service, washing the clothes and everything, and towels and all that, sheets off site, potentially not using your washer and dryer to put more wear and tear on it at your house. All these things matter, guys, so you want to be aware of what you're getting for what you're being charged, okay? Now, what segues in that perfectly as part of number 3, this last pitfall or mistake to avoid, is bad reviews, okay? A lot of times bad reviews will come because of the condition the house is in, which goes back to the cleaning company, which goes back to the management that is overseeing the property. So you do not want bad reviews, guys. You want to avoid those like the plague. I'm telling you, ideally you want to start off reducing maybe your rate when you first hire STR to get more people to book, even though you might take less profit or even a loss. But you do a great job for them. You'll get 5-star reviews on all those people, hopefully, and then the algorithm of the platforms of VRBO and AirBnB will start to work, and all of a sudden your home will show up more, and you'll start getting more bookings for a higher price because of your 5-star reviews, okay? They're gold. All right, guys, I hope that really enlightened you and educated you on short-term rentals in the Phoenix area. We are passionate about it, guys. I own several vacation rentals, short-term rentals. I also own quite a bit of unfurnished ones too. So I have good perspective. I would love to talk shop with you or comment with you, rap with you about that down below if you have any comments to add, or want to email at info@kellycookhomes.com. And by the way, that phone number, 480-660-5974. I'm sure you had that memorized though. And Instagram, guys, check us out at Kelly Cook Homes for all the behind the scenes fun and entertainment. Guys, I really appreciate you, and we'll see you on the next video. Oh, don't forget,